With Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania coming out next month, now's a good time to talk about Kang, his history in the comics, and what we've seen so far in the MCU, and what the future holds. So here are 6 things to help catch you up to speed on Kang the Conqueror. Before we get into it, if you're a fan of our videos, please like our content and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out and gives us the opportunity to create more content for you. Okay, let's dive in. Number 1. Kang's been around a while. Kang first appeared in Fantastic Four number 19 on October 1963, and he was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Number 2. He was actually a pharaoh. Kang was first a criminal who traveled back in time from the year 3000 and conquered ancient Egypt and was known as the pharaoh Rama-Tut. Number 3. He had many aliases. Later on in Avengers number 8, we learn that Rama-Tut travels to the year 4000 and takes on the iconic name Kang. They also retroactively made Immortus the future identity of Kang in Giant Size Avengers number 3 in 1975. His other aliases and variants include Iron Lad, Victor Timely, Scarlet Centurion, Chrono Monitor number 616, Mr. Griffin, and many other versions, including a version called King Kang, which is a play on King Kong. Number 4, he's a descendant of Reed Richards and Dr. Doom. In the 31st century, his real name was Nathaniel Richards. This is where he discovers the technology to time travel, and because he was fascinated by history, he goes back to ancient Egypt and becomes, you guessed it, Pharaoh Rama-Tut. He's defeated by the Fantastic Four and then travels to the 20th century, where he meets Victor Von Doom, who is implied to be his ancestor as well. This is where he designs an armor similar to Doom's and calls himself the Scarlet Centurion, who is defeated by the Avengers. Nathaniel then tries to return to the 31st century but overshoots by 1,000 years. He finds Earth is in ruins and is easily conquered. This is where he decides to rename himself Kang the Conqueror. Since the Earth that he conquers during this timeline in the year 4000 is dying, he actually decides to go back in time and conquer Earth when it's flourishing. Number 5. Kang has no real superpowers. Kang actually has no superpowers, but he's a genius who is an expert scholar, physicist, engineer, and technician. He's armed with future technology from the 40th century that often gives him an edge. He wears an advanced body armor that increases his strength, gives him energy, force field projection, and allows him to control other forms of technology. A pretty formidable adversary, if you ask me. Number 6, his MCU appearance and beyond. Jonathan Majors first showed up as a variant of Kang in the Disney Plus series Loki, known as He Who Remains, which seems to be very similar to Immortus from the comics. Here on this show, he claims that he's a scientist from the 31st century and he created the Time Variance Authority to prevent his fellow variants from causing a multiversal war. Now, since Sylvie killed He Who Remains, we'll get a bunch of his variants. One of his variants is showing up in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, as well as in the Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers: Secret Wars. This variant looks to be our comic book accurate version of Kang the Conqueror, and Jonathan Majors is an extraordinary actor to bring this classic villain to life in the MCU. Rumor has it we'll see a connection at the end of Quantumania with the next iteration of the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Now, the Fantastic Four movie will kick off Phase 6 of the MCU and is scheduled for February 14, 2025. I do expect a lot of Easter eggs and connections sprinkled throughout the upcoming movies connecting Kang and the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and even Dr. Doom. So there you go, I'm excited to see the antagonist in action, and we'll be covering all of it here on Fatherly Fandom, so stay tuned for all that great content. So there you go, that's your rundown for Kang the Conqueror, and hopefully that'll get you up to speed for what comes next in the MCU. So thanks for joining me today on Fatherly Fandom, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And from our families to yours, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.